So Lurker, which is a film from writer-director Alex Russell, who was previously best known for writing The Bear, which you love, and I love as well, and Beef. This is debut as writer-director. So the story is a twist on the kind of familiar interloper story. Essentially, the story of someone who wants someone's life and then inveigles themselves into it and then starts to steal it. Should we have a look at a trailer?
Yes.
Here we go.
So where did he find you at? A meet and greet or something?
No. He came into the store I work at. You make music?
Yeah, sometimes, bro. You should come to the show tonight.
Is this how you envisioned it?
This is the crib.
You should try to make yourself useful. If you want to stick around.
You got a camera. You know how to press record.
What the? You're like my hero, man. You're always on Oliver's Instagram.
Ollie, say hi.
Calling this man Ollie already? You sound like one of his bitches.
So basically, the two main characters, it's Theodore Pellerin is Matthew, and Archie Madekwe, who was in Saltburn and Midsommar, is Ollie, this kind of star. And what happens is the star goes into this shop where he meets Matthew, who lives with his grandmother and doesn't really appear to have much social life and is a super fan. But he pretends not to be a fan. Oh, are you a musician? I didn't know. Here's some of the music that I like. Anyway, he inveigles himself into his friendship. He inveigles himself into the backstage. And the next thing is he's being invited in. Oh, this is my new best friend. This is Matty. He's so great. He takes videos, blah, blah, blah. And Ollie is surrounded by this kind of entourage of hangers-on, all of whom have got a kind of hierarchy in the court of his stardom. And Matty sort of tries to work his way up through it, but every time he does, he's sort of, because every position that he could take, he's usurping, but he gradually inveigles his way into the life of this rock star. And then at some point, as always happens in these stories, there comes a point when he's either going to be cast out or he has to do something to prevent that happening. Now, the sort of uber text for all of this is The Talented Mr. Ripley, which is the Patricia Highsmith story, which was filmed by Anthony Minghella, obviously filmed before that as Plein Soleil, and then more recently was on Netflix as Ripley, which was really, really good, with Andrew Scott.
Andrew Scott, who we saw in the clip.
He was in Wake Up Dead Man. And the thing with these stories is they work best when things are on the cusp of awkwardness, when the person who, the very fact that the film is called Lurker, which is not quite a stalker. A lurker is somebody who's just on the periphery, somebody who's not quite in, not quite out, but isn't going away. And I think the thing that makes this film really good, quite apart from the fact that it's got two very good performances, because you do believe both of them, is that it understands that at the heart of any of these stories is that there's a kind of two sides of the same coin thing going on. On the one hand, there's Matty who sort of sees this thing that he wants and is willing to kind of do anything to inveigle his way into that world. And of course, in the case of The Talented Mr. Ripley, we all know how that ends. And in the case of this, it's more understated. But the key thing is that Ollie, who's this pop star who's kind of holding court, treats him, sort of bullies him and pushes him around and behaves really badly. And so it's not like there's a sympathetic character who gets his life stolen from him. It's like there are two unsympathetic characters, both of whom on the one hand are narcissistic and desperately self-serving, and on the other hand are really, really deeply insecure. And I think the thing the film gets right is it's that sense of insecurity and paranoia that it does really well. And having seen quite, if you think about things like Single White Female got brought up in relation to this. It's a story in which Bridget Fonda has an apartment. It's rented by Jennifer Jason Leigh. Jennifer Jason Leigh moves in, starts copying her clothes, starts copying her hairstyles, and the next thing is she's sort of stealing her life. In the case of this, it's all very believably done. On the one hand, you do believe that he could actually be a pop star, but you also believe that this strange guy who's pretending not to be a fan but clearly is a devoted fan has inveigled himself into the inner circle by being kind of wide-eyed and apparently innocent. And also, the film the film never makes any leaps that you think, okay, that's it. That's the point at which I don't buy the story anymore. That's the point that it turns into a murder mystery or whatever it is. It's just, everything is at that level of awkward threat. And I thought it was really well done. I knew nothing about it beforehand other than the title. I thought from the poster, which you can see there, that it might be a horror movie because that's kind of got like a psycho thing going on there. But I thought it was very affecting, very well done, and certainly at the top end of those kind of interloper stories. As I said, we have seen many of them before, and The Highsmith is the high point, but this is a very worthy contender.